Hello everyone and welcome back to the Online Chairs Academic Training. This module will be discussing the committee work structures and different methods as to how we can structure our committee work. So the classic committee work structure starts with the first step, which is called getting started. However, do keep in mind that while we say getting started, we still do mean that your committee has to be to some extent ready for the committee work already, which means that the team building is already done and the knowledge sharing is already done and you are in the full work mode already. However, to help that work mode, this step is necessary, which means different thing for every single chair, but usually by getting started we mean decorating the room, defining the golden rules, just going over EYP rules in general, and explaining to the delegates what the committee work means so that they at least have an idea of what they are supposed to do and what is expected of them in the next day or next 2 days. That's it. That's the getting started. After we are 100% sure that the committee is in the work mode, they are ready to get started, then we move to the next part, which is called the topic definition or the topic question definition. As the phrase kind of tells us, by topic definition we mean defining the topic, and defining the topic question, making sure that every single delegate understands what the topic question is asking. And it actually can be very tricky because there are sometimes topic questions that are quite complex and that are made up of many different parts, and sometimes delegates, like the whole committee, just forgets about one of them, or sometimes there are on like few delegates who just didn't understand the question in general or a small part of the question. So we have to make sure that every single delegate understands what the topic question asks and what they are expected to do. Once again, what problem they are expected to solve. But then we move on to the third part, which is called the general brainstorming. And during the general brainstorming, the delegates are expected to brainstorm problems in general. Or if we moved on to the operative clauses, they are expected to just come up with solutions in general. So there is no specific category of problems that they are brainstorming. It's just in general every single area that they feel is relevant to the topic they can brainstorm on. I'm gonna add one thing, that during the topic somewhere in the middle during the topic definition or between topic definition and general brainstorming, you as a chair can ask the committee to come up with the aim that they have for the resolution. What are they trying to achieve by the resolution? You can either do it after defining the topic or before starting the operative clauses. But it's always very, very important for the delegates to see the bigger picture and to understand what goal they are trying to achieve by the small means of achieving that goal that are called operative clauses. The fourth step, as you already might know, is grouping, which means just taking the already existing clauses and grouping them in a certain way, so that then it's easier to move on to the fifth part, which is called discussing the clauses. In the classic committee work structure, there is no dividing topic in a certain way. You just take all the clauses and you just discuss all the ideas one by one. There is no certain like division. It's usually problems first, solutions second, but there are some chairs who actually combine them as well and just do everything together. So you basically discuss every clause that the delegates have one by one, and after you are done with that, after the delegates have already decided which clauses they want to put in the final resolution, then you move on to the last part, which is called phrasing. And by phrasing, as you already know, we mean just basically putting those ideas into sentences and making them presentable so that they are finally like ready for the General Assembly. This is it. This is basically it. 6 steps of classic committee work structure, which is the most commonly used committee work structure in EYP. And thus I'm 100% sure that you've at some point in your previous EYP experience have used it. However, this is the structure that has some advantages but many disadvantages as well. As you will see in a couple of minutes, I'm personally not a big fan of this structure, but it has its advantages. Like it gives a lot of creative freedom to the delegates, because you're basically not giving them any limits. For example, in the general brainstorming, they are allowed to brainstorm and write any clauses that they would like. In the discussion part, they are basically allowed to discuss any clause they want to without any structure. However, while giving the delegates freedom, it also doesn't leave a lot of room for you to mediate the discussions and to manage the committee work, because it first of all becomes a bit time consuming for delegates, just to give delegates 20 minutes or 30 minutes and to ask them to like brainstorm any idea that comes to their mind. And it also isn't very structured, and as you don't give the delegates specific areas as to what they should be discussing, it there might be some areas that delegates completely miss and forget to discuss. Other than that, yeah, there are not any big disadvantages or advantages. This is the structure that works really well for smaller topics where you don't have big complex topics that have many parts in them. If it's a simple, not simple, but if it's a smaller topic, for example, a yes or no topic, where it's like a moral dilemma or whether like a certain law should be banned or not, for example, then classic committee work structure would be highly recommended. However, if you're dealing with a big issue that has many different areas, then I would suggest a different one. Yeah, and as far as the committee size goes, it works the best for the for smaller committees, because with bigger committees there are more ideas, and just general brainstorming, grouping, and discussing every single clause of 12 delegates might be very time consuming.